Hi, my name is Tai, and I'm the creative director here at Imago DA. What we do with Brand My Idea, which is what we're doing right now, is that every Monday we take 30 minutes to just talk around the different aspects of building a great brand. And what's a brand? We always like to reiterate this, that a brand basically is a perception, right? A perception, that's something imprinted in the minds of your customers, both potential and current customers. Okay, and so every Monday, like I said earlier, we want to take 30 minutes to just talk around how you can build a great brand. We do this because we know that the environment that we live in the African setting, most of what we have are small businesses, right? We rarely have businesses that have a huge budget to build a brand. But the truth is, people buy brands. They don't exactly just buy products, they buy brands. Now, a brand can just be a function of what need your business is meeting in the minds of people. If your business is meeting a basic need, such as a hunger need or a security need, such as food, clothing, shelter, people will see you as, this is what I go to when I'm hungry. But you can also deliberately craft a brand, and make sure that it's something valuable that people actually want to buy. I can see that Spancy B is here. Hi. I remember that Spancy B is Bosse. Bosse was my old classmate in microbiology department. Hi, good afternoon, welcome. Hope you've I know that I saw you here a while ago. I hope you had a good time earlier. If you run a business, you can just type the name of your business, in the comment section. You never know. A number of people join in here and there, come in and out, and so you never know who may need your services, or may somebody else, you can have an exchange of service somewhere along the line. Okay, but welcome. I'll give it like 2 minutes for other people to join in, and then we'll get right into today's episode. We are talking about visual identity. In today's episode, we basically want to talk around what exactly is a visual identity, why is it important, and on and on. I can see that Afropello is here. Afropello is one of our most consistent viewers. Hi, Afropello Care, you are welcome. Great to have you here again. Like I mentioned to Spancy B, you can also put the name of your business, your handle, and what you do. You never know who may be watching this or joining this that may need something that you are selling. So it will be great to also for you to put in your details. I mentioned earlier that we are talking about visual identities today, what it takes to build a great visual identity, and what exactly is a visual identity, why is it important, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes at this point to just talk around the thing of visual identity. But what I want is, as time goes on, please send in questions. I want this to be a back and forth. I want us to talk around this. It's a conversation. I'll define what I mean by visual identity. The chances are you already know what it is, but I'll just give a definition, an overview of what it is about, what exactly it is, and then we'll get right into it. But please throw questions, kickback, comments, something you found inspiring, something you think other people would learn from. Please just put it in the comment section. I would read it out. Let's engage together. Okay, this is an engagement that want to have 30 minutes, lunch break. You can grab a snack or something. Let's just have some fun in this time. So let's go right ahead into the episode today. What exactly is a visual identity? Visual and identity, it basically is not more than that. Okay, visual identity is something recognizable that is visual, right? You can say a human being obviously also has a visual identity. So if I mentioned Michael Jackson, you instantly would think of long hair, the nose. I usually think of the nose first of all. You think of maybe a moonwalk. You think of black, shiny suits, and white socks and shoes. Maybe you think of a hat. Okay, that's a visual identity. That means your mind gives a visual every time you think of somebody or a brand or a business. Okay, so if I said Konga, you probably would, you may think of the website, or you may think of the logo. If you're like me, I instantly think of the logo. If I say trying to think of what other thing that we can, if I mention a name, say I say Beyonce, maybe you think of golden hair, or you think of shiny clothes, or you think of an amazing voice, or you think of a really shapely body, something. But the truth is, human beings, our minds are geared and wired to instantly retrieve data when there's a trigger. Okay, and usually that trigger for us can often be visual. It can be visual, it can be auditory. I hope that's a real word. Please correct me. It can be when you taste something, you have a memory, it comes to mind, right? So we are wired to generally retrieve instantly. Our brains retrieve data when there's a trigger. Okay, and so if I put an unknown substance, you've never seen it before, I say, okay, I have this thing in a bottle, I'm going to put a drop on your tongue. You don't know what it is. Immediately, if I drop it, your brain will start to scramble in the data that you already have to try and pinpoint something you have tasted before, and it's going to try and immediately bring that connection. So even if you have never had that, whatever it is, before, you will instantly try to create a connection based on what you already know and things you have encountered before. Now let's travel back to visual identity. Human beings are highly visual. Okay, our eyes are really powerful. We connect a lot with what we see. It's one of the points of entry of the data that we collect. We're collecting audio data, we're collecting visual data, but visual data is particularly powerful. Why? Because it is one of the senses that is most strongly connected to our emotions. Okay, and emotions are powerful. Human beings are so emotional. Most of the decisions that human beings make are very emotional decisions. You can say, oh, use your common sense, this doesn't make sense, blah blah blah, but the truth is we usually make decisions that are gratifying to our emotions, whatever those emotions can be. So now this is why it is so important to carefully craft a proper visual identity. Why? Because that people who will interact with that identity will instantly they will make a connection. And so remember that we're talking about branding. What's a brand? A brand is a perception that is imprinted on the minds of the people you are trying to reach and people that you are trying to get to buy what you're selling. Okay, so one of the most effective ways of creating a very powerful brand is to craft a unique, not just unique, but a powerful visual identity. You want to make sure that when people see something, they instantly create a connection to you and what you offer. Okay, whether they see it on social media, whether they see it on a billboard, but you want to make sure that your visual identity is well crafted, it is deliberate, and it is also effective. So it's not just all over the place. Remember, human beings are very visual people, visual beings, very, very visual. I can't say it, strongly enough. We would usually make connections with what we see, and it triggers an emotional response. And if you can trigger the right emotional response, you have almost hooked a client, you have almost hooked a customer, because once you can connect with people emotionally, you've already crossed like 50% of the hurdle. Again, remember that most of the time human beings make emotional buying decisions. They rarely ever would make purely rational decisions. You can try and market and say, oh, but somebody needs a shirt. People need shirts. People would say, I can sell shirts. No, not necessarily. If people just need shirts, they can go to there's a market in Ibadan called Ogunpa, where you can buy bulk shirts for 600 naira a piece. If it's just shirts that people need, they'll go there and buy like 10 and have shirts to wear. Why would I spend 6k or 12k or 20k on a shirt? It's emotional. It's not purely rational. There's something that there's an emotional need that is meeting, whether it's a need to be accepted in a group, whether it's a need to impress, whether it's a need to show a certain status, whether it's a need to say this is who I am, I should wear this, whatever it is, it's just not purely, my point is, it's not purely rational. So let me not sidetrack too much. I'm talking about why visual identities are important, and essentially because, number one, human beings are highly visual, and you want to be recognizable. You want to make sure that your brand is not just lost in the sea of all the other people offering what you're selling. Chances are your business is not the only one existing in your market space, and there are many, and your customer wakes up in the morning and is bombarded by all of these other businesses, including yours. So one of the things that a visual identity helps you to do is to make you instantly recognizable. People remember you easily. I can pick you out of a sea of, a lot. It's like saying you have a large bag of blue balls. If there is one that is red, it's very easy to quickly pick it out. I may have 100 balls inside the bag, but once there is one that is a little, is unique, is different, there's something about it that just makes it stand out, I can pick it out very easily. So you want to make sure that your brand, is recognizable. When people talk about, I know that, okay, I can see a number of businesses. I can see the Chic Store. The Chic Store is a shoe brand. I'll, reiterate or repeat myself. I said it earlier before a number of people joined. There are people who are joining in with this live broadcast. So you can put in your name and what you do, your business name and what you do or what you sell. You never know who would, be taking advantage of what you're doing and may want to patronize you. So please feel free in the comment section, put in your handle, what you do. I can see that the Chic Store is a shoe brand. I know that, or footwear brand rather. I can see All Wired. All Wired does electronics and teaches people how to, make stuff with electronic models. I guess that's the word it's called. And then I can see her Royal Cakeness, who is one of our biggest fans, always very supportive. I'm very grateful. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, each of your brands most likely is selling something that is not entirely unique. There are other people in your market space that are offering what you're offering, right? So if you want your customer to, you hear, cakes in Nigeria, it's like a bag of blue balls, right? How do you become the red ball that people can, there's a red ball, yeah, there are cakes, but I remember that, if you say cakes in Nigeria, there are chances that there are some names that will probably come to mind easily. It's like picking a red ball in a bag of blue balls, okay? So you want to craft a visual identity because that makes you instantly recognizable. You are not just another one in a mass or a sea of other people selling what you're selling. Another reason why you want to carefully craft a visual identity is because you want to create an emotional connection. I said earlier that one of our 5 senses that is most highly connected to our emotions, our eyes, right? What we see is so powerfully connected to our emotions, and our emotions are powerfully connected to our decision-making abilities, right? People make very emotional decisions. Now, emotional not in a bad sense, but we are so emotional as human beings that we usually will make decisions that kind of, are gratifying. I don't want to use the word pleasant because not necessarily pleasant, but are gratifying to our emotions, okay? And so if you are able to craft a visual identity that captures the emotions in a certain way, I would explain what I mean. Now, by emotions, I don't mean makes people cry or, happy. Not necessarily. Emotions are vast. Like, there's so many different kinds of emotions, okay? But if you can craft a visual identity that connects with the emotions, okay, you have succeeded in at least halfway anyway in connecting with the people you want to connect with and actually on your way to helping them make a buying decision. Okay, so that's 2. So the first one I said is a visual identity. A proper visual identity makes you recognizable. Secondly, helps you to create an emotional connection. Okay, and thirdly, it makes you memorable. Okay, it makes you memorable. People don't easily forget you. It's like a stamp. Okay, you kind of just stamp yourself on people's mind. Think of it if you are in a market, right? If you are just in a market randomly with a lot of people, and you see a guy, with a hat, with a black shiny suit, with white socks, black shoes, and he has the hat like this, and he's standing in the middle of the road. Something pops. You think Michael Jackson, right? You just okay. Who is this Michael Jackson guy, right? That's such a powerful visual identity, and it makes you very memorable. I'm talking of Michael Jackson now, so somehow it comes to mind when you see something that reminds you of it. I was saying earlier in the episode that what we do as human beings most times, when we see something new, instantly our brain triggers a whole data retrieval process, and we try to pick out something that helps us to connect with this new thing that we have seen. Okay, we are generally like that as human beings. We always want to make a connection, so there are triggers all around us, and you want to quickly make a connection with something you've seen before. You can make yourself a lot easier to pick out in all of that space in people's minds. That's make yourself a lot more memorable by crafting deliberately and effectively a proper visual identity. Okay, so far, is there any kickback, anything you want to say, questions you want to ask? I'm going to talk a little bit in 5 minutes or so about what it takes to actually build a proper visual identity. But based on what I have said so far, if you have a question or some kickback, please hit at me. Right, I want to know how this is hitting you, or you have an affirmation, this triggers a memory, something you have seen or heard. Please, as much as possible, I really love to hear about it. Okay, all right, so let me talk about how you can craft a visual identity, or one of the ways that you can craft a visual identity. I'll weigh in heavily on just one of the ways. But small business owners, again, I always keep in mind that there isn't a large budget, right, for branding or marketing, but you can also still do very effective stuff within the limitations of the budget. In fact, I would say it a lot that at the point we are in history, right, small businesses are, in my opinion, at a higher advantage than large corporates, right, because you can connect with people more easily than a big business somewhere. Okay, right, so how do you craft a proper visual identity, right? Of course, one of the ways is to have a proper logo. Okay, I wouldn't weigh in heavily on that so much. But there are some pointers that I think are very important for small business owners to know, right? When you are crafting a logo, one of the first and basic things, or when you want to ask somebody to craft a logo for you, when you're trying to come up with a logo, you want to do a logo redesign. I find it, a lot that business owners make this mistake a lot. The first point of contact, or the first factor to be considered, is not your taste or your likes or your preferences. Remember that at the end of the day, a logo is part of a visual identity, and the people you want to see your logo and connect with it are your customers. The first set of people to consider, the first set of tastes to consider, the first set of preferences to consider are those of your customers, not of you. It is very, very, very important. Whatever you will do, a logo, everything that is visual that your brand is going to be bringing out. I know that Royal Cakeness is here, so you have cake boxes. Chic Store was also here a while ago. You probably would have shoe boxes. I could see Tochix here. Tochix does gearables. He deals in IT tech stuff, sales, repairs, and all of that. Next. Chic Store is still here. Awesome. Now, every time you are creating something, some kind of packaging, or you are putting together something that is visual, that is aimed at being visual, that your customers are going to connect with visually, the first factor in terms of tastes, preferences, likes, dislikes are not yours. Your taste is not the major factor. Your customers' tastes are the major factor. You want to be recognizable to them. You want to be memorable to them. You want to be You want to create an emotional connection with them. Your research should be focused on what they like, what attracts them, what would connect with them. Now, I don't mean separate that from you, because at the end of the day, remember, there are two keywords in the phrase visual identity. There is visual, and the visual belongs to your customers. Your customers are the ones with the eyes, not you. But there's also identity. So you want to be recognizable, but it has to who is recognizable is you. So again, recognizable is the word, but who is going to be recognizable? You, what your business stands for. So while you are looking at tastes and preferences of your customers, you want to make sure that all of that is you're capturing the essence of your brand. What's your brand? You must have core values and what exactly your brand stands for, your vision statement, your mission statement, what you actually are setting out to do, your product, what are you selling, and you kind of package all of that in a way that will your customers can easily recognize, in a way that it creates an emotional connection with them, and in a way that makes you very memorable. All of that would involve some research. You have to at least go online, see what people are talking about, what's attractive to the people you're trying to sell to, and then okay, this is who I am, right? I'm a luxury brand. Okay, craft luxury in a way that people who value luxury would understand. So I mean, I was speaking with a makeup artist, a while ago, and we're talking about, the whole thing of luxury makeup products. Okay, and I was saying, what, the people you want to sell with, the city, the environment that she was going to appeal to luxury as a luxury brand, basically. You have elitist people, so because there's luxury and there's luxury. So there are some people whose luxury is Gucci slippers. There are also people whose luxury is Oxford or Clarks. That's not luxury, but I mean, you get the idea. So there's elitist luxury, there's party luxury. So there's different kinds of luxury. So but if your luxury is Victorian, talk of from your nose luxury, old money, people who your money has been in the family for like 5 generations. If that's your luxury, you have to do some research on what attracts such people. So in that, you can't have a lot of glitter and sparkle and shine, yet even if you're luxury. Okay, yes, Balenciaga, you cannot do green hoodie. No. Okay, there's luxury for green hoodie, there's luxury for no green hoodie, for tweed jackets and brown pure leather, leather from Tanzania. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you have to really study who is my target customer, right? And I'm a luxury brand, so how do they perceive or how do they interpret luxury? If Afropello is here, so if we do hair care, right? Who do I want to sell hair care to? Okay, I want to sell hair care to women aged 22 to 55. Now, you want to now ask yourself, leather from Tanzania. What does age 22 to 20 and 55-year-old women interpret hair care to be? So you are hair care, right? But you want to now try and craft hair care in a way that is recognizable, or natural hair care to a way that is in a way that's recognizable to women who are within that age range. Or you say, oh, I sell I don't know, I'm trying to think of what, all and all. I'm just saying there is you, right? But there is also your customer. You want to make sure that you craft yourself in a way that is instantly recognizable to your audience. Okay, so right now I'm going to take a few questions. One of the keywords, I should say, we're almost out of time, and I have automated this to end when it's time. I do not want to exceed 5 minutes, but while your questions are coming in, let me just say things you must keep in mind when you're trying to craft a proper visual identity. You want to try and give a personality to your brand. So what's a personality? Am I upbeat? Think of a person. What if my brand was a person? What would it look like? Right? And you want to sound like that person on social media. You want your logo to look like that. You want your printables, your flyers, your packaging to look like that. Okay, so you want to be sure, what's the personality of my brand? Am I fun? Am I elitist? Am I serious? Am I thoughtful? Is this a thoughtful brand? Is this a retro brand? Is this a gothic brand? Whatever it is, give a personality. If this was a person, if this person was standing in the middle of a market, if my brand was a person standing in the middle of the market, what would my brand look like, right? Again, you want to give your brand a voice, okay? If my brand, so apart from look, like personality, what would it look like? If my brand, okay, was like a podcast or a writer or something, what would my brand be saying? What would this person be easily talking about? So if you saw somebody, with a tracksuit and a face cap, maybe the person will be talking a lot about sports. So you want to say, what's the voice of my brand? What does this brand personify? What do I talk about? Is it again, I'll say luxury, is it nature, okay, and all of that. Okay, now I can see a question. Let me pause to answer this question. We're about a minute before we end this. How do you describe these personality types to a designer? I would say you want to make sure you write this out. Every designer should have a creative brief from you, okay, and so, or agreed by you and the designer. So you want to try and put all these things in writing as cause of your brand before you even talk to a designer. What is the voice of my brand? What is the personality of my brand? What do I want to look like? Once you can communicate this to a designer can say, okay, I think this color would work for you. I think this typeface would work for you. I think these pictures would work for your social media. But you are the one that is going to put it in writing with your vision statement, your mission statement, and you say, okay, what's our voice? What's our personality? You can select colors as well. What colors talk about us? Who do we want to look like, right? So put all of these things in writing before you even have an interaction with a designer. And so when you present this to a designer as a brief, designer can say, okay, I'll take this, and then so every time the designer gives you a deliverable, you can match it with your own core statements and all of that, and say, okay, does this flyer represent fun? Or does it look like something for an educational setting? Does this flyer represent our tone? Does it represent our voice? Does it represent the personality of my brand? And personality can go as far as you want. You can have a chic personality. You can have an afro of the out of the box personality. You can have a classic quiet personality. No, quiet is voice, right? Personality, just again, like I said, like a person, just put a personification, so to speak, to your brand or to your product, to your business, and then put it in writing. So every time anybody that does anything for you, be it a web person, be it a graphic designer, be it a product designer, any vendor that is going to do a project for you, you can then weigh your own brief and say, okay, this is who we are. Please give me something that represents who we really are. And you want to make sure, this is very important, consistency is the most important aspect of building a visual identity. You don't want to confuse people. Keep to certain colors. Social media, you can't really underestimate the power, or you can't overestimate rather the power of that consistency. Use a certain kind of pictures, use a certain kind of colors, use a certain family of fonts and typography. Don't just be everywhere. Let your design, what you do on social media, be easily recognizable, so that once people see it, they know, oh, this is who I am, and I know this brand, I know this is them, right? You want to also try and be a little dynamic with it. Don't be boring and predictable. So it's a balance you want to weigh. You want to be recognizable, but you don't also want to be boring and predictable. But like I said earlier, it doesn't start with your tastes. It doesn't start with your preferences. I always want to encourage businesses to avoid this pitfall. Start with researching who you are trying to sell to. What do they like? What do they talk about? What are their preferences? What do they like to look like? Or what connects with these people the most? If you are selling to millennials, you have to sound like something millennials connect with. If you are selling education, you want to put education in a way that a millennial would understand education. If you are selling education to Generation Z, you want to put it in a way that Generation Z understands what education is. If you're selling to baby boomers, your 50s and all of those guys and above, you want to put it in a way that they get. You don't want to put education, for baby boomers in a way that Generation Z understands education. No, you can't. So take who you are, what you're selling, craft it, right, for your audience. So start with your audience, understand who they are and what connects with them, what's their language, what all of that. Then okay, who are we, what am I selling, what's my product? Then now take that and craft you can just call it a visual identity manual for yourself, or a visual identity brief for yourself, and you put a personality in the brief. What's my brand personality? Who do we look like? What do we sound? What do we sound like? What's our voice? And then what's the tone? Are we upbeat? Are we sarcastic? Are we? This is especially important for social media. Do I want to sound sarcastic, or do I want to sound humorous, or do I want to sound inspiring, or do I want to be informative? Do I want to be thoughtful? Whatever on social media, but you want to basically make sure that there's a package, there's a casing for all that your business is, and then you are going to be extremely memorable. You'll be recognizable always, and then finally you will make sure that you connect emotionally with the people you are trying to sell to. All right, I hope this was very helpful. Are there any more questions? We are out of time. We are actually 4 minutes, although we started a bit late, so we are like 2 minutes behind schedule. So do I have any questions so far? Anybody wants to ask a question or not? Thank you for joining. I saw that a number of people came in at this point. Do I have any questions? We can take one or so before we wrap it up against next week, right? Okay, I don't think I have any questions. Right. So during the course of the week, I would announce the next week episodes. What I want to do is I'd love it if you could send in questions ahead. Would have what we're going to be talking around. So if you have read about it, or you have thought about it at some point, and you feel you have questions to ask about what we'll be talking about against next week, just send us a DM, or you can send an email, info@imagoda.com. You can send us an email. You can reach out to us at any point. If you have questions about your business as well, you want to ask a question, you have a challenge at some point revolving around your branding, or you want to ask, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? Please, as much as possible, DM us or send an email. We'll be more than happy to respond. All right, thank you everybody for joining in. This will be on IGTV. I know that I'm not sure I can put it on the stories any longer, but it'll be on IGTV on our Instagram page, and so you can check it again if you want to. I would also send out the link to the audio this time around. I'll keep my promise to send out the link to the audio later in the day or tomorrow morning, so that you can also go back and listen to it if you want to. Again, ask us questions, throw back questions at us. Love you back, Haroya Cakeness. Thank you for always joining in. Alrighty, thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely week ahead. Happy New Week, and enjoy and have a beautiful, productive week ahead. Cheers.